Once upon a time, in a quiet coastal village surrounded by the whispering waves, lived a 26-year-old woman named Lena. Lena was kind, hardworking, and thoughtful, but her mind was never at rest. Every morning when the sun rose over the ocean, she woke up feeling heavy. Thoughts of what could have been and what might go wrong swirled endlessly inside her head. She worried about her work, her family, her future. Her friends often told her, "You think too much, Lena. You need to relax." But how could she relax when her mind was always so loud? Even the sound of the waves, the most peaceful sound in the village, could not calm her anymore. She longed for silence inside her heart. One evening, while walking by the beach, Lena heard an old fisherman talking to a traveler. They spoke about a monk who lived on a small island across the sea, a man known for helping people find inner silence. Lena felt a spark of hope. Maybe, she thought, he can teach me how to quiet my thoughts. The next morning, she packed a small bag and took a boat to the island. The journey was long and the sea was calm. When she arrived, she saw a small hut surrounded by palm trees. Outside, a thin, gentle old man was mending his fishing net. Lena approached him and said softly, "Master, my heart is noisy. My thoughts never stop. I'm tired. Can you teach me how to find peace?" The old monk looked at her and smiled with kind eyes. He nodded and said, "Come with me, my child. I will give you something to do." He took her to a small lake behind his hut. The water was clear and still. Not even a ripple moved on its surface. He handed her a small bell tied with a thin thread and said, "Hold this bell in your hand and sit by the lake for 1 hour. But there is one condition. You must not let the bell make any sound." Lena agreed and sat down. At first, she felt it was easy, but soon her legs started to ache. A mosquito buzzed near her ear. The breeze grew stronger and she almost lost her balance. Every time her hand moved even a little, the bell trembled, and she had to stay completely still to keep it silent. Minutes turned into what felt like hours. Her thoughts began to complain. "This is boring. My arm hurts. Why am I doing this?" But then she remembered the monk's calm eyes, so she focused on her breathing. Slowly, her mind started to quiet down. The sound of the waves faded away. The bell stayed silent. For the first time in her life, she felt the stillness, not outside, but within herself. When the hour passed, she returned to the monk. He smiled and asked, "Did you hear the bell ring?" Lena shook her head. "No, master, it was quiet." The monk nodded. "And what did you feel when the bell was quiet?" Lena paused and said softly, "At first I felt restless, but after a while, everything became silent. Not only the bell, but my thoughts too. I wasn't thinking about the past or the future, I was just here." The monk looked at her and said, "That, my child, is the sound of stillness. Peace doesn't come from running away from noise. It comes from learning to be still in the middle of it. When your attention rests in the present, your thoughts lose their power." Lena bowed her head in gratitude. As she left the island, the ocean waves seemed softer, the wind felt lighter, and her heart, for the first time in years, was calm. She whispered to herself, "I carried peace with me all along, I just needed to stop long enough to hear it." From that day on, whenever her thoughts became too loud, Lena would close her eyes, take a deep breath, and listen. Not to the world around her, but to the stillness within. Moral of the story: true peace is not found in silence around you, but in silence within you. When your mind learns to rest in the present, every sound becomes a song and every breath becomes peace.